WOWT6. This is Heartland Focus.
Hey, good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Heartland Focus. I'm your host, Tim Clark. Later on, joining me in my show will be Dr. Dally Davies. He's the Vice Chancellor of Academic Affairs for University of Nebraska Medical Center. But first, I just must pause and honor and celebrate Terrence Bud Crawford. I had a chance to go to the fight in Vegas, and I was just so proud of not only his performance, but just his style, his calmness, really just in the ring and out of the ring. And, you know, he is truly American, one of America's champions. And most of all, he's from Nebraska. He's from this place we call the Good Life. And I really would like to have my folks out here that's watching, and you know, we got to get behind our champion. And just like if we would win the, you know, an Orange Bowl or something for Nebraska or volleyball, this is one person, and this is one person that is important, that we show him that we support him as a state. And by sending him some, you know, sending him some love, and I just wanted to say, you know, to Bud Crawford, Bo Mack, Team Crawford, congratulations on a unbelievable win, and really people out there. Hopefully, we can stop the conversation about, well, is he really good? Is this really real? Because, you know, there's been sayings about, well, he's not fighting anyone that's at a high level. Hey, you know what? You got to stop that kind of conversation. I think what we're missing is that you have a unbelievable, talented, modern-day gladiator that's really superior in his skill and style and strategy in that ring. He's a warrior. He's a warrior. And so just wanted to say thanks to all the fans that traveled to Vegas to support him, and I haven't seen the numbers yet, but all the folks that paid to watch him in the comforts of your home through paid TV, public TV. And so when he fights next year, you guys, we just like a Nebraska game, we got to show up and show out in a positive way and let people know around the world that we support our champions. So big ups to Terrence Bud Crawford. Man, thank you for representing Nebraska. He had it on his boxing shorts in the back there, Omaha. He's very proud of where he's from. But hey, you guys, I want to jump into my guests. Before I jump in with my guests, just real quick, yours truly, I'm going to be in concert helping to bring along the holiday cheer, Christmas. We're doing Christmas classics. The first concert is going to take place at the Strut, Omaha, right off 90th and Fort. And that's Tim Clark and Friends. Special guests, Millicent Crawford, Anjali Mitchell, Haley Bice out of Lincoln, Nebraska. And then we have Anjali, Haley, Millicent, and myself. Also, we're going to be featuring on the guitar. We have Clarence Nichols on the guitar, Thomas Wells on the bass, Tarnell on the drums, and then our music MD is Leland Mickles. And so it's gonna be, and then the next concert is gonna be at the Jewel, Omaha, December 18th. We're gonna do 2 shows. You see the information there. You can get tickets online. 6:30 show, and then there's gonna be an 8:30 show. So come out and support your boy. It's gonna be fun. Some great talent, and just helping to kind of usher in the spirit of Christmas through entertainment. There's food options at both venues. So you can come and not only eat there, eat and then have some entertainment. Or if you choose to go out to dinner, and you can come back for one of the shows. I want to welcome Dr. Davies. Welcome, man. Welcome to Heartland. First of all, thank you for taking the time. I appreciate that.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
Well, I never have enough time. Especially in this subject, I brought you on to talk a little bit about really the vaccination. And I was kind of puzzled. You got this phone call from me, and thank God for you having access to you. But I'm like, what does it mean when? And I really wanted to talk about this because we're in the holiday season. People are coming up to our homes and things like that. So we got a vaccination. We got this vaccination for the COVID-19 virus, and we got a booster that's out there. I happen to be both. I have both shots, flu shot and the booster. So hopefully that's creates some shield and some protection.
Same here.
So talk to me about what happens when in your space you have folks that's vaccinated and folks that's not vaccinated. What's the play and really how do we protect the environment, and then what should we be really practicing?
Well, thank you, Tim. So, we're sort of at a historical time here in the United States where we've lost more people to COVID than we've ever lost to any disaster in the history of this country. I'm talking about war, infection, anything. We've lost over 750,000 people to COVID. And imagine if enough planes were crashing that we're losing, at the peak of COVID, we're losing 3,000 people every day. And that's like, you get a normal jet plane that's carrying 300 people. Like if 10 jets were crashing every day and dying, I think we'd take notice. Wow. But because they're occurring, individually in an isolation, a lot of people still think this is a hoax. So here's the answer. So, when you get the vaccine, what the vaccine does is it causes your body, you were talking about the gladiator in Bud Crawford, right? The warrior, right?
Oh, yeah.
So
he's a warrior. Yeah.
He's a warrior. When you have an infection in your body, it's a war. It's a war zone. So when your body sees a virus, basically what it says is this does not belong here.
Okay.
Right? So we've got to do everything to mobilize our army to get rid of this virus. So what it does is it then creates a situation where your body is responding and the virus is also multiplying very quickly. So it becomes a war between whether the virus overwhelms you before you can, mount your army, or whether your army is quick enough to get rid of the virus. So it's a war. And so, when you have people who are not vaccinated, that's really the body's not ready, primed. And so the virus multiplies, takes over, and that's why they get in the ICU and they die often. Whereas if you're vaccinated, so what happens with the vaccine is, the vaccine causes your body, you're giving a part of the virus in this particular situation, the spike protein, into the body. The body says this doesn't belong there. So what does it do? It creates soldiers. They're ready, primed to go. When you get the next dose, it says absolutely, we're ready for you this time. So anytime the real virus then shows up, because the body recognizes the spike protein that does not belong there, the body is already primed, the army is already mobilized, and they get rid of the virus very quickly. Whereas if you're not vaccinated, then the virus has an opportunity to keep multiplying and take over your lungs, your heart, and all the different things that lead to death ultimately. So the difference between the vaccinated and the unvaccinated basically is that when we see the virus, when we're vaccinated, we can really, the body is ready, already primed, the soldiers are ready in your nose, all over your body, ready to say, foreign body here, gladiators, get rid of it, right? Whereas if you're not, the virus has an opportunity, right, to multiply. And that's another reason why we see mutants and strains spreading, because these mutants arise when the virus is multiplying and dividing inside people who are not vaccinated. You can't do that in vaccinated people because it doesn't have a chance to survive.
So in that I'm vaccinated, in that scenario, I'm in an environment, there's people in that environment that may be carrying the virus. So it's going to act different in my body than it's going to act different in someone that's unvaccinated based on just I have some protective guard or some folks in there that virus is to really help protect and fight more.
That is exactly right. So, what we do know is that, of course, the virus, you can't stop a bird from landing in your head, but you can stop it from building a nest, right? So the virus can get into your nose if you're vaccinated. But what we do know now is that it doesn't last as long. It gets, destroyed very quickly. And even then, we're finding that the amount of virus that, very quickly, the amount of virus you can find within people vaccinated is degraded very quickly compared to those who are not vaccinated.
So that, I think, Dr. Davies, that's key there, because, some people feel that, I don't want to get the vaccine because I'm healthy, my immune system, I don't have any comorbidities. What do you say to people that really still want to actually function in a normal environment, like, hey, I'm okay, I'm healthy?
So whether you're healthy or not is really not that relevant with this virus. Now, absolutely, if you have comorbidities, no question, you have an increased risk. But there are many young, healthy people. In fact, the most people are getting the virus today because most of the people who are, who have comorbidities have been vaccinated. The main people who the virus is targeting right now are those who are healthy, young. So, the age group that's mostly impacted now is between 18 and 39.
Dr. Davis, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, I want you to, let's talk about really, how do we really get our arms and hands around this virus to really get back to some degree of, I call it, new normalcy.
Right.
But it seems like our numbers, we're still under 60% in terms of total vaccination in this country.
Correct.
Let's talk about that a little bit.
Sure.
Hey, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, what can you do? What can you and I do to help bring down the spread of the variant Delta and really unknown variants that's out there or on their way? Stay with me, and you'll get some answers, hopefully. Welcome back to Heartland Focus. I'm your host, Tim Clark. My guest is Dr. Daley Davies. Hey, man, thank you so much for that discussion, first half. But I don't have a lot of time, but I want to jump into this whole notion that there's still a lot of misinformation out there, black folks that don't trust based on historical happenings. You started off saying, this is historic, the number of people that are dying. What do we say to people out there, particularly black folks, that just, they don't trust the man, they don't trust the system, and they think, hey, I don't want to be practiced on like a guinea pig?
So I totally understand their concerns. I understand their fears, their historical fears. What I would say to them is that, you have to look around you and see who's getting this disease right now. COVID has impacted the Black, the Hispanic, the minority populations more than any other group. If you look at proportionately, more people have died overall, percentage-wise, in the communities, in Black communities, in Hispanic communities, and minority communities, than the rest of the population. And that's because generally we have more comorbidities and we live sort of more, we tend to have...
And when are you talking about those comorbidities for folks that being...
diabetes, high blood pressure, maybe underlying lung disease, overweight. Those things are more prevalent in our communities. And so we are at greater risk of this disease. And so there is a lot of misinformation. And I guess the question I would ask is, you have to ask the question, how is it that the vast majority of doctors have vaccinated? How is it that the vast majority of the politicians are vaccinated? What do they know, right, that we don't know in our communities? And if you really think through about what, how incredibly effective this vaccine is. Right now, if you look at the people who are getting admitted into hospital, there are 10 times, anywhere from 10 to 15 times, depending on where you're looking at, more people who have not received the vaccine compared to those who have received the vaccine. And those who are getting admitted, who have received the vaccine, generally are people who have depressed immune systems. So this is something that I understand people's concerns, but really these vaccines are highly effective. They're over 90% effective, and they work. And the side effects, yes, if you take Tylenol, right, you have some side effects. But if you put that and weigh that against the benefits of this vaccine, we're so fortunate in this country that we have the opportunity to be able to get this vaccine and protect ourselves and loved ones. And I'll just say one thing. I have seen families where, and it's online, anybody can Google this, where they've lost a loved one to COVID, and then they're having a COVID vaccine at the funeral. Let's not wait till the funeral of our loved ones to get the vaccine. Get it before we lose somebody who's valuable to you.
Yeah, that is so true. And so when you think about the effectiveness of that vaccine, some people say, well, you know what, they made it too soon. It happened too fast. I mean, is this something they just woke up and say, hey, this is new, or this has been kind of we've known about this virus? Or talk a little bit about just the construct of the notion that people think it happened too quickly.
So a number of factors, came together that helped the vaccine to be developed so quickly. And by the way, we were all skeptical at the beginning as to, is this really possible for this to occur so fast? But as the data started to emerge and we understood better then, all of us were convinced. So first of all, the technology that was used, this is the first time the mRNA technology has been used in this country for vaccination. The technology itself has been around for more than 20 years.
Okay,
now here's what you need to understand. Companies are not going to go out and start making vaccines unless they have something that they're going to vaccinate against. So, because it's a loss leader, right?
That's right.
You have, first of all, have the population. You have to spend literally sometimes $1 billion, right, to get a vaccine out there. So what happened in this case is that the federal government guaranteed that they will pay for the vaccine. And so the technology was already there, right? It's been used in small settings. There have been studies on thousands of people actually up to that point who have been tested in small scale that ensure that it would actually work. So the concept was already there. So when COVID came along, the mRNA vaccine was really nice because what it does is your body is given the information and the body produces the protein that allows the soldiers to be mobilized within you. So this really saved a lot of time because normally for the normal vaccines you have to make all these proteins right in the lab. But in this scenario, you're basically giving the mRNA, which is not DNA, it doesn't go in it's basically information that tells the body how to make the protein. Your body makes the protein.
Wow.
But it's not part of your DNA.
So it gives it the recipe.
Correct. It gives the recipe.
And your body makes that recipe to fight.
Correct. That's why you don't have to spend all that time, in the lab creating all those proteins.
They're not putting no chips in you and all this craziness.
There's no chips. And the other thing is that it does not go into your nucleus, it does not go into your DNA, because a lot of people are worried.
So it's not going to alter any of...
It does not alter your DNA, it does not go anywhere near your DNA. The mRNA is something that the body makes anyway, so it's natural. So it's not something that, the body is used to seeing the mRNA in there, except that this one just allows the body to create this protein, and then basically the mRNA is always destroyed after it's done its job. So there's no incorporating into anything that's going to change your DNA.
Wow. So in simply put, when you think about weighing the risk factors of someone out there choosing to take it or not, it seems to be very minimum what I'm seeing right now.
Absolutely. So I would say it's Russian roulette. I mean, you're basically saying, I have a chance here to get a vaccine that's going to be more than 96% effective in protecting me from getting into a hospital or dying. Oh, I'm going to take a chance because I think I'm healthy and I'm invincible, right? There's a risk there. And, the chance that, the virus is going to find you more than, somebody else who's already vaccinated. So my plea is, I would say that this is, we've now, over 1 billion people have received the vaccine around the world.
Okay.
So we know more about this vaccine than any vaccine that's ever been made. And so, I don't think there's any big surprises out there that we don't already know about.
Yeah. Well, hey, in wrapping this segment up, Dr. Davies, what would you, 30 seconds, 60 seconds or so, a message to the folks that's out there?
Yeah, my message is, we all have people in our families who have cancer, who have underlying disease. We have people who have diabetes and that we know are their friends or family. The best way to protect them is for us to get the vaccine.
Yeah.
And for those who have those diseases especially, I would really strongly encourage them to do so because, again, I don't want to have a vaccine clinic at a funeral.
Yeah.
I'd rather have the vaccines given so that you don't have to have that funeral in the first place.
Yeah. And just before we go, and so really an unvaccinated person, if they contract that virus, it has a chance to stay in their body, be more aggressive, and they carry it longer.
Correct.
Versus someone that's been vaccinated, it may hit them,
correct,
but may bounce off of them.
That's a very good analogy. Literally, if you look at some of the, they've created these video images of what the virus actually does. You know, the virus is a very specific tuned machine that attaches to your cell in a very special way.
Okay.
But when you get the vaccine, literally it's blocked from even attaching. I mean, it's very impressive. So it cannot get into your cells.
Wow.
You know, and even if it does, it cannot get in very efficiently. So your body has an opportunity. You know, think about it. If we want to go wage war, say, you know, in the Middle East, God forbid,
That's right.
you know,
Right.
it's one thing to, you have to mobilize your Navy, your Army, all your military has to be mobilized to go there. But if they're already there, right?
You have a better chance.
Correct.
Oh,
so
yeah.
they can react right away. It's the same thing with our bodies, right? You know,
That's a very good.
the soldiers are already there, poised to go. When you're vaccinated, and
Yeah.
when they see the virus, it's like they basically can attack and get rid of it right away.
Right on, right on. Thank you for sharing that. And I just want to say, you know, on behalf of Heartland Focus and, you know, folks I represent, thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Thank the medical community, folks, you know, first responders, and you know, I happened to have a chance to. My dad was in the hospital, and just the stress level. It seemed like the system is just stressed, overwhelmed, and I think if we can do something to help that by getting vaccinated, to stress this system down, and because the worst, some people are saying the worst is yet to come if we do not begin to change our behaviors.
Right. And so thank you for bringing that up. And I just want to say one quick thing about that is that right now, our hospitals are as busy with COVID as they were in December of last year. So we're seeing, you know, the second wave or third wave, you want to call it right now.
Yeah.
ICUs are full with COVID patients. And what that means is that when somebody gets a heart attack, right, or somebody gets a disease for which they need an ICU bed, there's no guarantee they'll be able to get one because those beds are filled with COVID patients, almost all of whom have not received the vaccine. So that's one of the main reasons. And of course, we have fewer nurses now because a lot of nurses have PTSD and have quit in the last year.
Yeah.
And so we've got to really think about the stress. So thank you for bringing up the stress in the system. And I think it's very important that people are aware that this is not just about COVID, it's also about all these other diseases that you may not get a bed for if you need one in the hospital because the ICU is filled up with patients who have COVID.
Because you're forced to go there because you chose not to get vaccinated.
Correct. Yeah.
Thank you. We got to leave it there, man.
Thank you.
Hey, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we have Willie Barney. He's with the Omaha Empowerment Network. We're going to be talking about Christmas in the Village. Stay with me. I'll be right back. Hey, welcome back to Heartland Focus. My guest is Willie Barney. Willie, thank you, man. I just always wish I had more time. We're going to jump. You're no stranger to Heartland Focus, so man, Christmas in the Village. Let's talk about just what, when, where, who, and the energy that people should be expecting this year.
Oh, it's amazing, man. If you can't believe it, 11 years of Christmas in the Village.
11 years.
The Village at 24th and Lake, man. It's going to be one of our best, largest events that we've ever had.
Who that said we couldn't do this?
Right,
who that?
right. And so
you know?
using what we have, you know, the buildings that are there, the Dreamland Park, the partners. So you're talking about literally close to 100 organizations, businesses, entities, churches working together to make this festival Saturday, December 4th in the Village at 24th and Lake.
So what should they expect? I know we're going to pull up the flyer, and then if folks, are you looking for volunteers, all that kind of stuff, we'll put it up on the screen now.
You know, the community has really rallied around it. Last year we had to convert to a drive-through completely. This year we're going back to the outdoor mostly activities, and again, just in the environment that we're in, making sure things are safe, you know, sanitize, all those things that are sanitizer, all the things that are required. But as far as free carriage rides, activities for the kids, it's just an event, Tim, that people of all ages can enjoy.
Santa Claus is going to be there?
Santa Claus will be there.
Now somebody told me Santa Claus is a black man.
Hey, you know it. Now you got to see it. You got to come down and see it.
Actually, James Brown said, Santa Claus. he told Santa Claus where to go, straight to the ghetto, too. But
and he's going to be right there. He's going to be there. Matter of fact, he's going to be behind glass, so he'll be waving at the kids.
Oh, okay.
So we're just keeping it a safe environment, but a fun activity, music, gospel music. Christmas music out in the park, wave.
Vendors, you're going to have food vendors.
Food vendors. The Revive Center will be serving food. Food vendors up and down the street. The Great Plains Black History Museum, the Union, all those different events and activities will be open as well. But there's always arts and crafts for the kids, sweets, candy, popcorn, you name it. But then also the vendors are there, businesses, because a big part of this, Tim, is celebrating families during the holiday season, but it's also supporting those black-owned businesses that are up and down the district, as well as vendors that come down during that day.
So people should bring money. Also, there's a lot of free things, but people should bring money so they can patronize some of those black businesses.
Absolutely. That's a big part of the
Big part of it.
Free activities, all kinds of different things, balloon, face painting,
Okay.
you name it. It's all there.
Where
but
can
then you can
people
support the
park
businesses.
at? What about parking and all that good stuff?
Yeah,
And-
so family housing parking, there's some of the churches that open up their parking, and then in the streets around. But remember, the streets are blocked off between Burdett and Ohio. And so, but there's a lot of parking. The neighborhood knows about it, so people are expecting it. There's always a large
Okay.
crowd. We've grown from 1,000 up to 5,000 coming down to participate in the event.
That's huge. Hey, I'm out of time, but man, I will be there. I'll have my ho on and all that. You got a great team. I want to thank your team,
Vicky
Quates,
the
and
whole
your
team.
whole team.
Yeah, and the
the
partners.
sponsors
Yeah.
and stuff like that, man.
Yeah.
So
Appreciate
they
it.
can see the sponsors on the website. You guys, we got to get out of here. Oh, out of time, man. Thank you guys for what you guys do to keep the spirit just glowing and growing in North Omaha.
Thank you, Tim. Appreciate the
man.
opportunity.
Right on.
Thank you.
Hey, and that's all for this episode of Heartland Focus. Make today the beginning of your best year yet. Although it's almost over, do what it takes to be good to yourself. Hug somebody from afar, do it safely. Do your dance to your beat, to the way you want to groove and move in preparation for 2022. Let's go get it. You got to take it. You got to take back what's yours for 2022. I'm out of here.